वन्दे शम्भुमुमापतिं सुरगुरुं वन्दे जगत्कारणं वन्दे पन्नगभूषणं शशिधरं वन्दे पशूनां पतिं वन्दे सूर्यशशाङ्कवह्निनयनं वन्दे मुकुन्दप्रियं वन्दे भक्तजन आश्रयं च वरदं वन्दे भक्तजन आश्रयं च वरदं वन्दे शिवं शङ्करं कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. Friends, whatever may be the religion we belong to, in all the religions, one faith is common, one belief is common, irrespective of our religious leanings. And that is, we are all children of God. All religions believe that we are all the children of God. If we are the children of God, we love God, God loves us because of our relationship. Love is not only at the emotional level, love must be seen in action. Our love towards God is seen in worship. His love towards us is seen in grace, karuna. He loves us and so He showers grace on us. We love Him and therefore we worship Him. We respect Him. We adore Him. We are devoted to Him. He takes care of us. He protects us. He showers grace on us. So love from us towards God is seen as devotion. The love of God towards us is seen in His blessings. All children therefore go to God. And when we see our parents, we put forth our requests. Daddy, I want a bag. Daddy, I want food. Daddy, I want comfort. Daddy, I want luxury. Daddy, I want a transport. I want to fulfill my desires. We children have desires. And we express our desires. God, in His infinite generosity, on account of His boundless love, fulfills our desires. That is the basic requirement. All the children one day in mythology went to God. Daddy, we want to travel very fast. We need some quick transport. We want to decorate ourselves. We want diamonds. We want gold, etc. They went on expressing. Then God, Lord said, my dear children, why do you repeatedly come to me for this desire, that desire, for the fulfillment of this desire and for the fulfillment of that desire? I have given you the universe. I have given you the entire world. I have given you the earth. I have given you air, fire, space. And I have given you the brain. I have given you energy. Put them all into action. Use them. Be resourceful. Be intelligent. Make your lives comfortable. Make your lives pleasant. make your lives useful, be resourceful. Don't come to me again and again. Don't ask for this and that. Then all the people came together. God says, we can make our lives comfortable. They all put in their efforts. This universe, this earth is that ocean of milk, Pala Samudra. It is highly resourceful. Earth in its bowels has all the oils. Earth in its bowels has the diamonds and gold. And you have so many trees. All these things are available in this universe, and the man made himself a huge mountain, brought Mount Meru, placed that Mount Meru in that ocean of milk, and that ocean of milk is to be churned. For that, he required a rope, and that rope must be very strong. It should not snap off, it should not be cut, and it should be highly energetic, and therefore he brought Vasuki, a huge snake that was circled round this Mount Meru. All types of people, the intellectual people, the emotional people, the workers, the laborers, all types of people collected together. On one side of the snake, some people held, on another side of the snake, some other people held, and the milk ocean was churned. From that, one after the other, so many precious things came. Before the things started coming out, the mount is going down. They wanted support. They wanted somebody to help. Again they went to God. Lord, we are trying to churn the ocean of milk. We are trying to get gold. We are trying to get medicines. We are trying to get the diamonds, etc. But the mount is going down. Then God said, I shall support you, don't worry. He took the form of a turtle. He took the form of a tortoise. He went to the bottom of the mountain. On my back, you put your effort. On my back, you put your burden. Leave everything to me, I shall support you. Your duty is only to act. My duty is to protect you. You go to the school, I will be coming behind you. You do the business, I will be protecting you. You do the investigation, I will be leading you. I shall be placed as self-confidence. God, Lord, has taken the form of tortoise or the turtle, which is the support to all our effort. This Mount Meru is the human body, mind, intellect equipment. It is the social body. It is the national body. And the snake which is circled around it is energy, psychic energy, intellectual energy, united energy, social energy. That energy is put round, and man started striving with confidence, with hope, with faith in God. We have God in us as faith. We have God in us as hope. We have God in us as self-confidence. Confidence is the support in all our endeavor. When you make business, we have the confidence, we get the profit. When we study, we have the hope that we get the job. And that is the divine support for all our efforts. Kurma Avatara is nothing but the second incarnation of God in the form of faith in man. Faith in one's own self, that is supporting. And when we put in all our efforts, when we are resourceful psychologically, when we are resourceful intellectually, when we are resourceful socially, we produce wonderful things. Mahatma Gandhi is resourceful and he produced independence. A businessman is resourceful, he produces profits. A scientist is resourceful, he makes inventions. An agriculturist is resourceful, he produces fruits. Rajender is resourceful, he produces good health. Everywhere put in your effort. That energy is needed, psychic energy, emotional energy, and the whole body is churned in this ocean of milk, in this society. And one after the other, the good things have come out. There is the moon. Daddy, I want air conditioner. The cool moon is produced. The AC is produced. I want to go make the travel very fast. Uchchaishrava is produced as a symbol of fast travel. I want to carry my loads. Cargo is to be taken from one place to the other. Airavata, a huge elephant is brought out of the ocean of milk. Cranes, lorries, aircraft, they are all produced. We have so many ailments, diseases must be removed, and Dhanvantari has brought that bowl of medicines. Doctors have been able to discover new medicines because of their intellectual resources. Engineers, scientists, technocrats, teachers, so many things are produced. When you are producing this, Lakshmi also comes, wealth comes. You are making money by doing business. You are making money by cultivation. You are making money through your scientific discoveries. Everywhere we are making simultaneously money. All this is done with one's faith in oneself. This is your Kurma Avatara. And next, whenever we put in an effort, there is a side effect. When the car goes, the carbon dioxide is thrown from behind. When you have a medical factory, some pollutants are coming. When we eat apples, we produce excreta, urine. A dirty material is simultaneously coming out of the body as a sweat. Everything that comes out of the human being is dirty. Everything that comes out of the car is a pollution. Everything that comes out of a factory as a side effect is dirty. And what am I to do with that? It is poisonous. It is dangerous to have the fumes. And then Lord God said, don't worry, there is another aspect of mine, and that is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva will consume that poison. He will put it at the throat. Nature takes that poisonous fume and it recycles. The bad material thrown away by the factory, the bad material thrown away by the human being, the bad material thrown away by the society is recycled. Nature absorbs it. Nature keeps itself fresh. So God, the Lord, loves us. He is like confidence in us. And this tortoise has 5 limbs. Its back is strong. Our back is strong. Our backbone must be strong. It is indicative of strength. And when we control our 5 senses, we become stronger still. The 5 sense organs, eyes, ears, nose, touch, these are the 5 sense organs. If we have a control over them, we become still more strong. Backbone is strong, and we become stronger by controlling these 5 senses. Tortoise has the control over the 5 limbs. It takes back nothing can shake it. And its back is very, very strong and it lives long. Among all the species, the breathing of the tortoise is very, very slow. God, when He creates the human being, the life is calculated in the number of breathings. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4. Similarly, breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4. Each person is given 1,000 breathing ins, 1,000 breathing outs. If you breathe in quickly and if you breathe out quickly, we die quickly. Slowly we breathe in, slowly we breathe out, and then we live very long. Each person is given some 100 kilos of rice or 1,000 kilos of wheat. If you eat a lot of food quickly, we die quickly. If we eat slowly in small measures, we live long. Food is calculated and given to us. Sugar is calculated and given to us. And our life is calculated in breathing in and breathing out. Yoga says that we should breathe in as slowly as possible. As slowly as possible we should breathe out. Tortoise is the species which lives very, 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 very long, hundreds of years. Its life is very long because if you observe a turtle, it breathes very slowly. It is for long life. It is for strong life. It is for controlled life. Such life is the support to enjoy the pleasures. We can be resourceful. We can be creative. We can be good scientists. We can lead a comfortable life. We can lead a devotional life. Therefore, the basis of life is indicated in the faith, in self-confidence, in self-control, in the breathing in and breathing out yoga. This is the format of the second incarnation of Lord Vishnu. On one side, He supports us. On another side, He purifies us as nature. The purifying system is there in the body. The purifying system is there in nature. Simultaneously, we are blessed with the immunity and the purification process. God's incarnation is there as tortoise to love us, loves us as faith, etc. Having completed this, we find that a poisonous fume Lord Shiva consumes. You have one by one Kamadhenu, Kalpataru, Moon, Uchchaisrava, Airavata, Dhanvantari, and Lakshmi. Lakshmi is wealth. All are produced by our self-effort. Self-effort is possible when we have faith in ourselves. That faith is God. That confidence is God. And therefore Swami Vivekananda says, God is within us as self-confidence. Therefore, let us put in the effort. Mount Meru is the body. Snake is the energy. The whole universe, the earth, planets, everything, it is the Pala Samudra. With faith at the bottom in ourselves, let us put in the effort to enjoy the comforts. Let us be physically comfortable. Let us be emotionally enjoying. Let us be intellectually happy. Let us be spiritually peaceful. The whole process of life with the divine support is indicated in the avatar of tortoise. When man uses, good people use faith, bad people use faith. For the pursuit of a business, we want money from good people, we want money from bad people. All the people should come together, all the thoughts must come together. Day is necessary, night is necessary, tall people are necessary, short people are necessary. In this universe, we have the pairs of opposites, head and tail, good man and bad man, brown man and white man, all people have to put in their effort to get independence, to make business, to start a college, to run a college. Everybody is useful, nobody is useless. So Rakshasaras are utilized, Devatas are also utilized to produce that nectar. Nectar is nothing but peace. Nectar is nothing but Brahmananda. We will be peaceful and comfortable when we are able to put in all our efforts towards a particular goal. This is the second incarnation. Third, Varaha. Varaha means a pig or a wild boar. In the process of evolution, fish is the first expression of life, or the aquatic creatures are the first expression of life. And the fish shows how alert we should be. Kurma shows how strong we should be, how much faith we should have in ourselves. And then Varaha. Using that faith, man may become bad. Using that confidence, man may become harmful to others. There is every possibility. I do make business, earn lot of money. I don't keep that money at the disposal of the society. I own it, I grab it, I indulge in it, I become a menace to society, I become a terror. All the Horlicks bottles I keep in my godown, make black market, make capital. I have the faith that people come to me. Faith can be put to right use, faith can be put to wrong use. Confidence can be put to right use, it can be put to wrong use. When a man is using the faith for a wrong purpose, when he puts in the effort for a wrong purpose, what is wrong? When I am useless to others, it is wrong. When I am useful to others, it is right. That is a simple definition. When I am useless to others, when I am grabbing the money, when I am accumulating wealth, when I am becoming a tyrant, when I am exploiting everybody, I am a wrong man, I am a bad man, then something must be done to teach him a lesson. And that is your Varaha. Varaha is a pig. In that story, mythological story, there is a man called Hiranyaksha. Hiranya technically in Sanskrit means gold. Hiranya means gold, that's all, simple. Aksha means eye, nothing else. Hiranya Aksha. The man with eyes always on wealth. What do I get if I go to Bhagavata Katha Kalakshepa? Do I get gold? Do I get diamonds? Do I get coffee? Do I get tea? Do I get prasada benefit? Prasada means benefit. What is the profit? What do I get? That's materialism. If I go to America, I get dollars. If I go to Kashmir, I get apples. If I go to Kodaikanal, I get plums. If I go to London, I get pounds. If I go to Tirupati Balaji, I get laddus. What is it I get? Everywhere we search for the profit. We want benefit, and that is prasada. In certain temples, only at the Aarati time you find a large crowd just for the prasad. The first part nobody will attend. Man has the weakness to seek only the fruit, not to put in the effort. Man is selfish. Everybody is selfish. It's a question of degree. Putting the faith to wrong use is to think of the fruit, not the effort. Hiranyaksha is a bad man. He has his eyes always on gold. How to get the gold of that house? How to get money from him? X, Y, Z. This is the purpose. And somebody said, earth has diamonds. Very good. Earth has gold. Earth has oils. Earth has so many things. This Hiranyaksha thought, why should I every time dig for gold? Why can't I steal the entire earth for myself? Why can't I have the entire diesel for myself? Why can't I have the petrol, kerosene, iron, steel, all the metals for myself? Then everybody will come to me, sir, I want a little steel, please give me. I want a little Horlicks, please give me. I will become a big black marketeer. In society, we have today Hiranyakshas. Hiranya is gold, Aksha is an eye. Hiranyaksha is the person who has his eyes always on the wealth, accumulating wealth to become more and more possessive. And then God, Lord thought, if only one man has all the gold, if only one person has all the diamond, if only one person has all the milk, how about others? They are all poor. They don't have food. Therefore, equitable distribution there should be. Money should be available to everybody. Food should be available to everybody. Milk should be available to everybody. Earth should be available to everybody. Resources must be available to everybody. Education must be available to everybody. God is impartial. God loves all the people. Whenever a person is accumulating wealth, He gives him a blow and He distributes that wealth to others. He took the form of a wild boar. He came, he killed Hiranyaksha, took that earth back, took that wealth back, took that money back and distributed it to the poor people. This is one meaning. This is what is happening. Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkrutam, dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To protect the good people, to protect the innocent people, to protect the righteous people, to look after the sadhus and to punish the bad people, to punish the selfish people, to punish the wicked people, I come on earth as an avatar. This is the declaration of God. Now, Hiranyaksha, he has become bad by becoming possessive. He is to be done away with, he is to be taught a lesson, and that money is to be distributed, and the form he has chosen is wild boar or a pig, dirty pig. A man is leading a materialistic life. Materialistic life means eating, enjoying, accumulating wealth, exploiting others. That is the most important thing. When a person is leading like that, this wild boar comes and gives him a shock treatment. A man is very well dressed, cleanly dressed, immaculately white, and he is going to his office, or he is going to his girlfriend, or he is going to his bar, or he is going to his hotel. When he is just going on the road, by the side of the road there is a ditch water. In that dirty ditch water there is a pig. And that pig has crossed the road. The man is going, the pig is crossing the road, it gives a shake, and that dirty mud is splashed on the white shirt of this man. He is going to his girlfriend, he is going to the hotel, he is going to the office, and now how can he go with that dirty mark on the body? He has to change his clothes. He has to change his mental makeup. He has to change his direction. Hitherto, he was wearing the clothes of materialism. Hitherto, he is wearing the clothes of physical luxury. Hitherto, he is wearing the clothes of possessiveness and greed. His mind is selfish. Now it is splashed, it is given a blow, it is given a shock. That cloth is to be changed, that mind is to be changed. What a fool I was. I have been leading a selfish life. Why can't I change to saffron robes? Or why can't I change to yellow robes? Or why can't I change to different robes? Because there is no cloth again in the house. He has to change. Tulsidas was an indulgent man. he was very lustful. Every day he wanted his wife to come to him. And such a kami he was, one day he went home, he found his wife absent. He asked his mother, "Mummy, where's my wife? Your father-in-law came, he wanted his daughter to be in his house. I gave the permission. Your father-in-law took away your wife to his house. About 10 o'clock already in the night. The other village is in the other side of the river. In the midnight, because of his lust, he went to the river, swam, holding on to a dead body, crossed the river, went up, climbed the staircase. His staircase was not available. He held on to a snake, jumped into the bedroom at about 12 o'clock, and the wife gave him a rude shock. "You man of lust, are you not ashamed? What does the society think of you? If you have a part of your desire towards Ram, your life will be different." She insulted him like the pig splashing the dirty water on the clothes of a man. When the wife insulted, there was a turning point in the life of Tulsidas. He became a sage. He became a saint. In everybody's life, there will be a shock treatment. Hurricane lantern, you might have seen old days. The chimney will be burnt hot, hot, hot. If you splash one wet drop, it breaks. Similarly, every individual will have a turning point from the worldly life to spiritual life, from the selfish life to unselfish life, from the materialistic life to devotional life. That turning point is given by a rude shock. Sometimes it is sickness, cancer. Sometimes it is poverty. Sometimes it is a loss in business. Sometimes it is punishment in the profession. Sometimes it is a reversion. Then we begin to think. Swami Vivekananda could not get a job. Mahatma Gandhi had a shock. He was insulted when he was traveling by the train in South Africa. His luggage was thrown out. He was pushed out. And that was a turning point in the life of Mahatma Gandhi. Should I continue to be a lawyer making money? Or should I become a revolutionary to teach the Britisher a lesson? A turning point in the life of Mahatma Gandhi. In everybody's life, a turning point comes in some form or other. Very often, that form is a shock. It's a wild blow, like the wild boar. It may be an insult, it may be a disease, it may be a loss, it may be a failure, it may be something unbearable to the person, and that is called Vara Aha, good day. Aha means day. Aha Nisha. Nisha means night. Ahar Nisha, day and night. Ekaham, single day. Dashaham, 10 days. Saptaham, 7 days. Aha means day. Vara means that which is significant, that which is auspicious. Varaha means an auspicious turning point, a good day, a turning day where the mindset is changed from the materialism to spirituality. You take any sage's life, there is a turning point. In the life of Guru Nanak, in the life of Siddhartha, when he was traveling, he looked at the dead body. He looked at the old person. You take Mahatma Gandhi, you take any great saint, Valmiki. Valmiki was given a shock treatment by Narada Maharshi. The rustic, the plunderer, the thief became a sage. Every person, when he continues to be bad, by the divine grace, he will be given a shock treatment, and that shock treatment is no other than your divine incarnation, Varaha. It is a good day, it's an auspicious day. people of Ulhasanagar have a treatment given to them. There is a turning point. If there is no yoga, they continue to be in the sickness. If there is no spiritual guru, they continue to be in the materialism. There must be a turning point in everybody's life. A boy is insulted by the teacher. He works hard, puts in his effort, and gets the first class. A girl insults the boy and he does not care for marriage. He becomes a great sage. Everywhere there is a shock treatment, a rude shock that is represented by the old wild boar or the pig. This is the third incarnation of God. On account of his love for us, he gives us difficulties. Don't find fault with God if there are difficulties. Difficulties are a blessing in disguise. He changes our way of life. He changes our outlook. He changes our direction from the selfishness to unselfishness. Fourth is your Narasimha, the great avatar. In Narasimha Avatara, there is great Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyaksha has his eyes always on gold, possessiveness. In Hiranyakashipu's house, everything is made of gold. Doors are made of gold. Sofa set is made of gold. Roof is made of gold. Wealth, wealth, wealth everywhere. When you have lot of wealth, what is it you are going to do? That wealth is not sufficient. He wanted to go America and bring many more dollars. He wanted to go to Britain and bring many more pounds. He wanted to be richer, richer, richer. Somebody said, go to America, do business there, you will make more money. Hiranyakasipu thought, if I worship Brahma, I become very great, I become richer still, I become stronger still, I shall do tapasya, I shall do business, I shall put in effort, I shall study further. All sadhana. Hiranyakasipu's wife is Leelavati. He told his wife, my dear wife, I am not satisfied with the power I have now. I am not satisfied with the wealth I have now. I am not satisfied with the strength I have now. I want to improve my status in every respect. I want to go to a tapasya place. I shall do tapasya. I shall put in effort and I shall come back. Good. Leelavati said yes, as a student is going for higher studies, as a student is going for greater business. She said yes. And the man proceeded. He selected a beautiful hillock. On the top of the mountain, there was a tree. Under the greenwood tree's shade, Hiranyakasipu sat for tapasya. He started doing japa in story. And on the tree, there was a bird. That bird was uttering some sound. Every time Hiranyakasipu started concentrating, it was disturbing his attention. He was trying to concentrate on Brahma. He was trying to concentrate on business. He was trying to concentrate on studies. He was trying to concentrate on research. Somebody was disturbing. It was a bird. Then Hiranyakasipu thought, no, it's not a good place. This is not a good omen. Let me go back. Come after some time. He thought. He returned to his house. Leelavati, his wife, was surprised. My dear husband, how is it you have come back so soon? You said you would go to America and do business. You said you would go to Britain for higher studies. You said you would go to that mountain for greater tapasya. How is it you have returned? He said, I shall tell you all that slowly. First I am hungry. He took bath. He had his food and he had for his stroll. Evening he had his dinner and there was an AC room. He was a very rich man. Everything pleasant. The wife came to the bedroom. He was there in the bedroom. Then the wife asked, my dear husband, you said that you will tell me the reason for your coming back to the house. Morning you did not say. During the lunch time you did not say. Now we have completed the day's work. I am here by your side in the bedroom. Everything is pleasant. please tell me the reason why you came back. Then Hiranyakasipu says, my dear wife, my dear sweet wife, I went to the mountain. Yes. There was a tree. Yes. On the tree there was a branch. Very good. On that branch there was a bird. Yes, then that bird was lisping a word. What was that word? It is a dirty word. I don't want to repeat that. Please say it. I am very curious. This man wants the wife. Wife wants to know the secret. In the bedroom, when the husband is a little loving and lustful to express his desire to the wife asks, get me the pattu saree, get me the gold, get me this, get me that. Oh, yes, I shall buy it tomorrow. He goes on making all promises to have his desires fulfilled. Now Leelavati is asking, why did you come back? What did that bird say? Curiosity, curiosity. Then Hiranyakasipu said, it is telling my enemy's name. What? What is your enemy? Who is your enemy? I am an atheist. I don't have faith in God. I have faith only in my self-effort. I have faith only in materialism. That bird is telling the dirty word. Please tell me what that dirty word is. Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. The bird is saying repeatedly, Narayan. Then Leelavati said, what? Narayan. Please say it once again. It is very sweet to my ears. I feel happy. I feel peaceful. Please sing that tune once again. Please play that music once again. Please say that word once again. The wife is requesting. Husband is full of desire. He is full of lust. He is full of desire to embrace the wife. But the wife is saying, please say Narayana again. Please say Narayana again. He does not like it. But still, because the wife has been asking for the Nama Ucharana of Narayana Nama mantra, Hiranyakasipu said, Narayan, Narayan. And the wife came closer to him. Husband went closer to the wife. They slept together and she conceived when both the people were thinking of Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. Mind is mellowed. Mind is sattvic. Mind is loving. Mind is salubrious. Mind is serene. Mind is compatible to each other. When such real love has blossomed between the two minds, the divine conception took place. Prahalada entered the body. The good children you will have when the parents are of sattvic mind, when they meet each other. You will have good progeny. Swami Vivekananda describes who is an Aryan, who is not an Aryan. Aryan is a child born of prayer. Non-Aryan is a child born of lust. Just for the sake of physical gratification of the bodily desires, if the husband and wife meet, dirty children will be born, lustful children will be born. Dasharatha Maharaj did not have children for a long time. He is not a fool. Three things are essential. The psychic setup of the husband, psychic mental makeup of the wife, they both must be favorable. Time must be favorable. All the three, when they are together, you will have the children. Dasharatha Maharaj was unable to get the auspicious time to get the best children. He performed a yajna. From the homa of fire, Agni Devata came up and he gave a bowl of payasam or that rice pudding. Sweet. And that was distributed among the three wives. They drank and they conceived. That is the story. What does it indicate? If we drink rice pudding, we are not begetting children. In my hostel, I do supply every week. My boys and girls are not becoming pregnant simply because of taking this rice pudding. What does it signify? To make that rice pudding, three things are required. Number one, milk you require. Number two, sweet product like jaggery or sugar you require. Three, either wheat or some grain or rice you require. And all the three put together, they must be on the fire for some time. When all the four are present, you will have that sweet pudding. The spices, the perfumes, all those things are additional, but the basic requirements are only three. Milk is a symbol for jnana in India. You have the national flag. Saffron is the symbol for self-sacrifice, tyaga. White is the symbol for purity, chastity, integrity. Green is the symbol for prosperity. These are the symbols, and Dharma Chakra is the righteousness. This is how people say our national flag has been. Similarly, in India, we have certain standard symbols. Milk is Jnana Pal, Jnana milk. Knowledge, wisdom is indicated in the milk, Jnana Yoga. And you have sweetness. Husband and wife should be loving to each other, at the same time devoted to God. That is your Bhakti Yoga, sweetness. You must have that rice. That is the karma. It is born as the seed, it grows, it becomes fruit, it becomes the seed. This is the life circle. Jivana Chakra, Karma Yoga. All the three yogas, they must be made perfect, they must be made ripe on the fires of tapas, and that is your Raja Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. When you are making your yogas ripe in the fires, it's a combination of four yogas. When the parents observe these four yogas, you will have children like Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrugna. Otherwise, we will have children who will beat us, who will scold us, who will betray us, who will be enemies to us. This is the ideal birth. Hiranyakasipu went to do tapasya. In the modern era, God is present everywhere. Noble ideals are present everywhere. He did not like it. He wanted to come back, and he came back. And the wife is curious. Whatever the main mental makeup may be of the parents, that will come to the children. Prahlad is a devotee. He is born to the parents when their mental makeup is auspicious. It is Subhaprada, it is Bhagavad-jnana, it is Nama, it is Narayana Namantra Ucharana that is taking place when the husband and wife met each other and the conception, pregnancy took place. Next, he went away. After some time, he went away to do his tapasya. He was away to do his business, to a mountain, to another tree where there is no Narayana Pakshi, and he did his tapasya. His wife was there at home. Narada Maharshi came. He took that lady to his ashrama. Leelavati was taken to the ashrama of Narada Maharshi. She was pregnant. Narada Maharshi went on doing Narayana Bhajana. The child was growing. The seed should be auspiciously sown. The watering also should be auspiciously sown. The child must be born and proper education must be given. Right cultural education. Prahlad was born and brought up under righteous education, divine education, social education, cultural education, useful education, universal education, devoted education. That took place. Hiranyakasipu returned with all powers. He went to the Supreme Court of Brahma. And then he asked, my dear Brahmaji, I am a murderer. I am a loafer. I kill people. I enjoy indiscriminately. A woman is found to be beautiful. I drag her. I want to enjoy. Because of my criminal bent of mind, because of my crimes, because of my thefts, because of my rowdyism, the IG is angry with me. They will arrest me. They will disturb me. Therefore, Brahmaji, please grant me anticipatory bail. Brahma, the Supreme Court Judge, Chief Justice, he granted, yes, Hiranyakasipu, you are a rich man. I will see that anticipatory bail is granted to you. Hiranyakasipu got that anticipatory bail, made a big copy of it, a Xerox copy of it, photocopy of it, pasted it on the threshold, on the gate of his house. And in that it is written, I must not be arrested by the police. I must not be arrested by the Air Force, by the artillery, by the Navy, by the border security force, by the state police, by the railway protection force, whatever force is available, nobody should have the ability or provision to arrest me. No man, no God, no angel, no devata should have the power to arrest me, kill me. First condition. Second condition, neither during the day nor during the night I must be arrested or killed. 3. Neither inside the house nor outside the house I must be arrested and killed. I should not be arrested. This is how he has taken the conditions that is pasted. IG came, looked at that, returned. God, Indra came, he looked at it and returned. Brahma came, returned. Vishnu came, returned. Because there is anticipatory bail. How are we to catch him? He is doing crime after crime. In society today, you have criminals getting the anticipatory bails. You don't require an anticipatory bail. I don't require an anticipatory bail. We are all good people, calm people, quiet people. We don't require. Who requires an anticipatory bail? Only criminals. Only rowdies, only loafers. And Brahma, because he was a rich man, he granted it. And Hiranyakasipu is there, strictly seated. Now, Lord God had the problem. How to kill this fellow? He came as Narasimha. Not border security force, not RPF, but a school, college, NCC cadet. Poor fellow has forgotten about the NCC cadets. This Narasimha is neither a man nor an animal, half man, half animal. NCC student is neither a student nor an army man. He is half student, half army man. Similarly, the loophole is seen by God. As the lawyers see the loophole for doing bad, as auditors see the loophole for avoiding income tax, good people see the loopholes in law, in income tax rules for doing good. God sees the loophole as good and criminals see the loopholes. You can use law for doing injustice. You can use law for doing justice. God uses law to do justice. Hiranyakasipu has forgotten so many things, and now as Narasimha, half man, half lion, he has come. Second condition, neither inside the house nor outside the house. He dragged Hiranyakasipu to the threshold, to the gate. He placed him. It is neither out, it is in the middle. It is neither the day nor the night, it is twilight. After sunset, it is not night, it is not day. If it is night, it should become dark. If it is day, there should be sun. It is not the darkness, it is in between like Sandhya Samaya. Then Narasimha came. Next condition is, I must be shot not by the AK-49 or 47, not by the LMG, not by the pistol, not by the sword, not by the dagger. No weapon should kill me, he wrote. He took nails. Nails are not a weapon, nails are part of the body. Narasimha took the nails, tore open the bowels of Hiranyakasipu and killed him. A materialist, he is trying to convert a good boy forcibly. First conversion attempt is made by Hiranyakasipu. Prahalada is an individual. He has his choice of religion. He has his choice of faith. You have no right to convert anybody forcibly. Hiranyakasipu tried to convert an individual, Prahalada, forcibly into an alien religion, and that was resisted within the framework of law, not doing damage to the law. Hiranyakasipu was killed by Narasimha. For us, the lesson, don't take law into the hands. Try to amend the law. Don't misuse the law, even if you are a god. That's what is the message. Portia did good justice to Shylock, observing law. Narasimha did justice, observing law. There are codes of conduct. There are scriptures. Follow the rules and regulations. If you are not satisfied with the rules and regulations, bring out to the parliament, to the assembly, amend the rules, and then you can do justice. This is the great avatar of Hiranyakashipu. Matsyavatara, arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached, alertness. Kurmavatara, breathe slowly, control your senses, become strong with faith in yourself, self-confidence. I will support you, worship me. I will be helping you. And whatever bad effects are there, I will consume as a Shiva. Nilakantha, I will consume the poison. I will purify you. I will grant you immunity. And then you have your Varaha. If you are trying to become a bad person, a turning point comes. Difficulties are a blessing in disguise. They change our way of life. Diabetes, when it comes, we stop eating more. We reduce our eating. We try to take a few exercises. We lead a little regulated life. That diabetes is a shock treatment to me. If I have high BP, it's a shock treatment to me. I will be careful. I shall try to follow a yogic life, simpler life. Similarly, a disease. Everywhere, the shocks are a blessing to me. That is your Varaha Avatara. While progressing in life, don't be detrimental to others. Try to be as lawful as possible. Don't go beyond the scriptural injunctions. Follow the rules and regulations of the country, of the family, of the cultural traditions. Even if you are God, be very careful. To that extent, Narasimha has given. It is here you find the Bhishma becoming silent when Draupadi was being dragged. Sri Krishna is there to do justice, let me not. That's a different chapter. If I take it, Bhagavata goes in a different direction. Now, next avatar is Vamana. Vamana is short. And Bali Chakravarti is a mighty king. Bali Chakravarti is good. He is the grandson of Prahalada. According to the story, Prahalada's son is Virochana. His son is Bali Chakravarti. Prahalada was given a promise by God. I will protect your family. Yourself you will be protected by me. Your son will be protected by me. Your grandson also will be protected by me. Prahalada is a devotee of God. Prahalada is sattvic. Prahalada is law-abiding. Prahalada is a good citizen. He is a good king. And therefore, there is no need to harm him. Similarly, his son was also a good man. He was following the rules and regulations very carefully. There was no need to disturb the kingdom of Prahalada's son. Bali Chakravarti was also a devotee of God. There is no doubt about it. But if he is a devotee of God, why should God come to press him down to the Netherlands or Patala Loka? I give a small example. There is a good man. This good man is related to Sonia Gandhi. He goes to Delhi or he goes to the chief minister. He praises him or he praises her. Comes back, go to the district collector, and then, you idiot, do give permit to me. If you don't give permit to me, I will report the matter to the Prime Minister. I will report the matter to the Chief Minister. He insults every officer. He scolds every officer. He misbehaves with every officer. But he goes to the king. He goes to God. He goes to Chief Minister. He goes to Prime Minister. He is very, very obedient there in Delhi. In Bombay, in Ahmedabad, he is very kind and good. Bali Chakravarti is a dual personality. He is a devotee of God, but an enemy of administration. Indra is an administrator, Agni is an administrator, Vayu is an administrator, Ashtadikpalakas are there. The 8 directions are under 8 gods. Districts, states, governors, chief ministers, it's a cosmic administration. And the Supreme Lord is Vishnu. Bali Chakravarti is obedient to Vishnu, but he goes to each chief minister, each governor, and he troubles them, tortures them, punishes them. This a good administrator does not like. Vishnu thought this fellow must be taught a lesson. Therefore, he went as a dwarf man. He requested. She Stoops to Conquer is a drama written by Goldsmith. To achieve some noble purpose, sometimes you may have to bend low. You must be a little more obedient. He is trying to deceive. Similarly, I must also go in a manner. Vamana is a small boy. He went to Bali Chakravarti. Raja, I want a gift from you. What gift do you want? I want 3 square feet of place where I can sit and meditate. Just 3 square feet. I am a small boy. I want to do tapasya. Please grant me a small place. Then Bali Chakravarti said, okay, I shall give you, but I am the king of kings. Why do you ask me for 3 rupees, 5 rupees? You asked me for 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs. You ask me for an agrahara. You ask me for a village. You ask me for a township. Why do you ask me for small thing? I don't want anything higher than that. Smaller place is enough for me. Bali Chakravarti granted. Now, he assumed a huge form. Mahatma Gandhi became a global personality. Swami Vivekananda became a global personality. When you are trying to do good to the society, you grow large. Hanuman was a small man before he jumped to Ashokavana. On the Mahendra mountain, when he submitted himself to Ramakarya, Swami Karya, he became a large man. When the cause is big, you grow big. When the cause is small, you remain small. You take the freedom struggle, you become a great person. Everywhere, it is the cause that makes a person great. Here, Vamana is a short boy. In the evolution, he is a dwarf. This dwarf went to Bali Chakravarti, asked him for the 3 square feet. Bali gave that, and now you find the great surprise. He became large. King, where do you want me to place my feet? With 1 foot, he occupied the entire earth. With 1 foot, he occupied the entire space. Where do I keep the 3rd? Put it on my head. He was pressed down to Patala Loka. By being obedient, by being modest, we can conquer the world. Mahatma Gandhi, by being non-violent, that's very important. With his no upper garment, a puny creature, a lean person, a thin person, the weakness of India is made the strength of India. Dwarf he is. By your obedience, by your goodness, by your non-violence, by your modesty, by your truthfulness, you can conquer the entire universe. Never become haughty, never become arrogant. Try to be as quiet as possible is the message we have from Vamana. And then you have your Parshuram. Parshuram is the crude man, rude man. Parshurama is the son of Jamadagni. Jamadagni, Jama is the word for Yama. Yama and Jama are one and the same. Yama means discipline. In your Ashtanga Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Yama means discipline. Nima means principle. You have one discipline, you have one principle. Discipline of place, discipline of time, discipline of procedure. And niyama means one principle. Every day, early morning at 6 o'clock I wake up. That's a principle. Every day I give 5 rupees to a beggar. One principle. Every Saturday I go to a temple. It's a principle. Principle strengthens your willpower. It gives strength to your determination. These are essential components while being a student, while doing business, wherever we are. Yama and Niyama essential. Similarly here, Parshuram's father is a man of discipline, Yama. Agni. Jamadagni is fire of discipline. If a man is a fire of discipline, wife will be afraid. I want coffee at 7 o'clock. At 7:05, if the wife brings coffee, you don't drink it, next morning she will bring exactly at 7 o'clock. We must establish discipline. Every day at 7 o'clock, the function has to commence. If we don't, people lose faith, credibility is lost. Whether people come or not, we start exactly at 7 o'clock. It is the fire of discipline. Man of discipline is respected by society. Man of principles is revered by society. I don't eat in the night. Some principle are there. This fire of discipline is Jamadagni, and because of his fire of discipline, he has a Kamadhenu in his house. One day, Kartavirya came. Kartavirya is the local king, local rowdy, local dacoit, local plunderer. That fellow came, looked at Jamadagni. Sir, it seems you have a Kamadhenu. Yes, give it to me. My dear friend, it was acquired because of my tapasya. I did cultivate the land, I produced paddy. That is your headache, I am taking the paddy. You have a cow, you milk the cow, you have stored 1 liter or 2 liters of milk. Somebody comes, takes away your milk. You have put in hard work, you have acquired thousands of rupees, you are going by the electric train, some rowdy comes, pulls your bag and takes it away. Now, rowdies are taking away the fruit of disciplined work. Teachers work hard, they have their salary. Business people work hard, they have their profits. And these rowdies don't do any work. They come, take away your wealth. This king Kartavirya was like that. He came to Jamadagni. I want your cow, wish fulfilling cow. I am taking it. Please, I have brought it up. I don't want to give that cow. Forcibly, the cow was taken away. The money bag was taken away. The paddy bags are taken away. The diamonds are taken away. Gold is taken away. Scholarship is taken away. Then, you, my money, my money. If you say a word, I will chop off your head. Kartavirya killed Jamadagni. That's what is happening today. How many rowdies are killing? How many plunderers are simply throwing the good people to dust? Everywhere this crime is taking place. You cannot be quiet. There must be a social revolution. These rowdies must be taught a lesson. Then Parshurama took his axe. You kill my father, you kill the good people, you kill the hard laborers, you kill the innocent people. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam. In every cinema, you find a hero. In every story, you find a Parshurama. The story ends with the hero killing the villain. Villain is the rowdy. Kartavirya is the rowdy. The hard labor of Jamadagni was stolen away. Therefore, Parshurama took his axe, went on killing not one fellow, the entire rowdy group, all rajas, all corrupt officers. Everywhere he went on killing. 21 times he went round. Any rowdy was beaten to death. That is divine incarnation. Idam kshatram, idam brahmyam. Don't be mild always, be wild whenever it is necessary. You cannot be kind always. Sometimes you may have to be stout. You must be strong. Sometimes you have to teach the lesson with a cane. You have to teach your child with a cane. This is the need of the hour. Parshurama is that particular incarnation. And then you have your great Sri Ramachandra Prabhu, and that is followed by Krishna. Rama is an excellent avatar. Sri Krishna is a superior avatar. How, I shall try to say within the remaining 15 or 20 minutes. The entire Rama story cannot repeat, the time is not sufficient, and also you know the story. Sri Rama is in Ayodhya. We know it. Rama's wife is Sita Devi. Rama's brother is Lakshmana. Sita, Rama, Lakshmana. The message came from Ayodhya, Dasharatha Maharaj. My dear Ram, you have to go to the forest. Yes, I am ready. This Rama told his wife, my dear Sita, my father asks me to go to the forest, I am going. Then Sita said, I shall also come. I shall also come. These wives will never spare the husbands. Wherever they go, I will come. I will come. Then Rama said, I am not going to a cinema. Where are you going? To the forest. In forest, what is there? There will be fire, there will be a lion, there will be tiger, there will be elephant, there will be no bedroom, there will be no AC, you will be in difficulties. Even then I will come. I take delight. Wherever you are, that is Ayodhya to me. I am coming, Sita said. Rama went on describing the difficulties in the forest life. Finally, Sita said to her husband, Ram, my father is a fool. Why? He thought you are a man. Now only I understand you are not a man. Striyam, Purusha Striyam Vigraha, Striya Vigraha. You are not a real masculine person. You are a man in the form, in the disguise. Then Rama said, all right, it is your fate, come. Striyam Purusha Vigraha, she says. Then Sita accompanies Rama. It's only just by way. Lakshmana looked at them both. My dear brother, I am also coming with you. Now 3 people are leaving Ayodhya. 3 people are going to the forest. Who are those 3 people? All of you, myself. We are all a combination of Rama, Sita and Lakshmana. Who is that Rama? The soul in me. Atman in me. God in me. Confidence in me. Faith in me. Grace in me. Strength in me. Principle in me. All these things put together is Ram. Sita, I have a mind. This mind looks at gold for some time, looks at the AC room for some time, looks at the trees for some time. It just moves this side and that side and this side and that side. Mind. Every one of us, we do have a mind. This mind and soul should be put together, and that is the body. In the body we have the mind, in the body we have the soul. Soul and mind should be put together. Body is gross, it must be available. Lakshmana goes to see that the mind and the soul are together. Sita and Rama are together. He takes care of them. He provides food to them. He provides shelter to them. So Rama is the soul of each person. Sita is mind of each person. Lakshmana is body of each person. Every individual is a combination of body, mind and soul. I have the body, Lakshmana. I have the mind, Sita. I have the soul, Rama. This man has evolved from the fish, from the tortoise, from the boar, from the subhuman to the human level. We have evolved. Rama is the man. Rama, Sita, Lakshmana is not 3 individuals. Rama plus Sita plus Lakshmana is a single person. Each individual. We have come from the plants, from the animals, from the birds to our human level. We are human beings. Earlier than this, subhuman beings. Above this, superhuman beings. So human, subhuman, superhuman. Now we have come to the level of a human being. Rama is a human avatara. He is a perfect human being. What does he have in this Rama plus Sita plus Lakshmana? We have 4 instincts. One instinct is ahara, food. Rats want food, cats want food, dogs want food. Everywhere food is needed. We too want food. Ahara, food. Nidra, rest. Every animal takes rest, every plant takes rest. Jagadish Chandra Bose, a great scientist, he said, even the trees sleep, they have feelings, they have life. And that second instinct is urge to sleep, ahara, nidra. Third one, rats are afraid, cats are afraid, elephants are afraid, tigers are afraid. We are also afraid of life, afraid of death, afraid of disease, afraid of losing the reputation, afraid of losing the job, afraid of becoming poor. We are all embodiments of fear. Third instinct. Fourth, all the animals want to procreate. A rat produces a small rat, cat produces a small cat, tiger produces a small tiger. They have the lust to procreate, kama. And we also have it, urge to procreate. These are the 4 instincts that a human being has. First instinct, ahara, nidra, bhaya, maidhunancha. Maidhunancha is procreative urge. With these 4 instincts, we human beings are born. Rama plus Sita plus Lakshmana are not 3 characters. In the story it is all right. The meaning I am trying to say, it is a human being. Every individual is a combination of body plus mind plus soul. He is going to the forest. We have entered this earth. Everything is uncertain in the forest. We do not know when the tiger comes. We do not know when the poverty comes. We do not know when the snake comes. We do not know when the death comes. We do not know when the scorpion comes in the forest. We do not know when the disease comes. Everything is uncertain. Future is uncertain. So into this world of uncertainties, to this earth of dangers, we have come. Rama plus Sita plus Lakshmana, the man is going to the forest. When we come to this world, we are taught lessons by teachers. Rama plus Sita plus Lakshmana, the man is going to the forest. He is taught lessons by 4 rishis. Rishis are researchers, rishis are teachers. They have specialized. First, Rama plus Sita plus Lakshmana, this man went to a Rishi's ashrama, and that Rishi ashrama is called Agastya Maharshi ashrama. Agastya is a great Rishi. What is his speciality? He has conquered the urge to eat. Agastyaha niyataharaha. If you control your tongue, Ram plus Sita plus Lakshmana, you will be successful. Don't overeat. Don't talk much. Control your tongue. You will be successful. You will be peaceful. You will be useful. You must be successful. You must be useful. You must be peaceful. What is the purpose of life? We must be peacefully useful, usefully peaceful. We must be peacefully useful, usefully peaceful. For that, food is a danger. If you overeat, you cannot. If you overspeak, you cannot. Control your tongue. That was the lesson given by Agastya Maharshi. First instinct, urge to eat, is given a lesson. Agastya Maharshi, please check your tongue if you want to be free from diabetes. If you want to be free from BP. If you want to be free from enemies, control your tongue, control your urge to eat. Yes, sir, thank you, he said. Rama plus Sita plus Lakshmana. Next school, secondary education. First primary education Agastya gave, control your tongue and diet. Then the second person, Sutikshana Maharshi, he says, don't oversleep, you become lazy. Don't oversleep, you become idle. You will fail in the examination. You will lose in your business. You will have losses. You will become a useless fellow to the society. Therefore, don't oversleep. More than 7 hours, 6 hours sleep, it is not necessary. Control your sleep. Lakshmana received, very good. The story says, Lakshmana did not sleep for the entire 14-year period. That is the reason he was able to kill Indrajit. If you conquer sleep, you become Ajaya, you become very powerful. When there is an urge to achieve something, how can we sleep? The flight is at 2 o'clock to US. You have to report it at 12 o'clock. You are in Ullasanagar. You have to travel the distance, there is a traffic congestion. How can you sleep that night when you have to board the aircraft at 2 o'clock? We lose sleep when there is a goal to achieve. Fix a goal and then your sleep will not be there. Second Maharshi, Sutikshana Maharshi said, be awake, don't oversleep, be alert, control your sleep. This was the second lesson, secondary education to conquer the second instinct, sleep, that was given by Sutikshana Maharshi. Third, you have Sharabhanga Maharshi. Sharabhanga is, Shara means arrow. Manmadha's arrow alone is called Shara. The bow of Arjuna is called Gandiva. The bow of Rama is called Kodanda. The Pankaja means lotus, born in the water. The leeches are born from the water. Insects are born from the water, but we don't call it Pankaja, only a lotus. Similarly, Manmadha is known for desire formation, Kama. That Manmadha's arrow is called Shara. That is to be broken. Temptations must be controlled. While doing business, there will be dirty temptations. If you lose your efforts in temptations, you cannot achieve the goal. Father has given 1,000 rupee note to the child. Go and buy a dress for yourself, pant and shirt. On the way, while he going, he has looked at the ice cream shop. He spent 100 rupees there. Another dirty shop, he spent some more time, some more money. By the time he goes to the place, he is left with only 50 rupees. He cannot buy the pant, he cannot buy the shirt. Similarly, energy must be preserved. We should not be attracted by the temptations. We lose our energy, we lose our money, we lose our everything. We cannot achieve the goal. Therefore, Sharabhanga Maharshi says, conquer all your temptations. Don't be a fool. Don't be tempted. If you want to be rich, if you want to be a scholar, if you want to be glorious, if you want to be famous, you have to conquer the temptations. Yes, sir, he said. Collegiate education is over. Primary education to conquer the food. Secondary education to conquer sleep. Collegiate education to conquer all temptations, desires. 4 is to conquer your fear. Don't be afraid. Bharadwajaha nirbhayaha. You have 4 rishis. And that is university education. Finally, man, don't get frightened. There is fear, fear, fear everywhere. If you get frightened, you cannot get anything. Don't. And all the 4 instincts have to be overcome to become divine. We have come from subhuman. We are now human. We should become superhuman. At the human level, we have carried with us the 4 instincts: urge to eat, urge to sleep, urge to fear, and urge to procreate. We have to overcome them. 4 lessons: primary education, secondary education, collegiate education, university education, to make us superhuman. Rama plus Sita plus Lakshmana is one individual. He is taught the lessons by 4 rishis, 4 researchers, 4 teachers. One is Agastya, overcome the urge to eat. The other is Sutikshna, don't oversleep. The third is Sarabhanga Maharshi, the man who has conquered all temptations. 4 is your great, wonderful Bharadwaja Maharshi. Rama plus Sita plus Lakshmana said, yes sir, yes sir. No, if you say, yes, I don't agree, I will give you a question paper, answer all the questions. Both theory and practice. Practical and theoretical lesson. Rama plus Sita plus Lakshmana wrote the first paper, urge to eat, 100% they got. Urge to sleep, 100% they got. Urge to procreate, 100% they got. But the fourth paper, Bhayam, they could not get 100%. They got 99.999%. Sita is afraid that Rama would not come. Rama was afraid that Sita was perhaps suffering somewhere in the Lanka. Lakshmana was afraid about the safety of Sita. The man lives in fear. Rama, Sita, Lakshmana, the individual, has overcome the 3 temptations, fear, procreative urge, and also the urge to eat and sleep. Fear was not totally conquered by Rama. In the Ramayana, you find Rama weeping. In the Ramayana, you find Sita weeping. In the Ramayana, you find Lakshmana weeping. Man in fear is seen in the Ramayana. To pass that examination and get 100%, he had to be born again as Krishna. September examination. He got all the 300 out of 300. Fourth paper in Krishna Avatara, he is a superhuman personality, getting 100 out of 100 even in the paper of fear. Krishna is not afraid of anybody. Krishna is the God of fearlessness. The first 3 he conquered. No urge to eat, no urge to sleep, no urge to have fear, no urge to have the procreation. He is totally free. Leela, sport, enjoyment, smiling, always free, fearless. Krishna Avatara. Now, superhuman personality is Krishna. I give a small example. Devaki Devi is a woman. Devaki Devi's brother is Kamsa, a Rakshasa. Devaki Devi's husband Vasudeva is a man. Devaki Devi's son Krishna is a god in the same family. Devaki is a woman. Her brother is a devil. Her husband is a man. Her son is a god. That means gods are not elsewhere. Devils are not elsewhere. Who are those devils? Ravana is a Brahmana. He has only Kama, nothing but Kama. Anywhere, any woman he indiscriminately enjoys. One day he found his daughter-in-law, his brother's daughter-in-law. Kubera was his brother. Kubera was his own brother. Kubera's father and Ravana's father are one and the same. That Kubera has a son and that son has a wife. That she is a small girl of about 15, 18 years. This Ravana looked at her, enjoyed her. She said, "Sir, I am your daughter." Nothing doing. Indiscriminately he enjoyed Kama, Kama, Kama. Therefore, today in history we call Ravana a Rakshasa because of his Kama. Excessive lust. 2. His brother Kumbhakarna is also a Brahmana. He did only 2 things in his life: overeating, oversleeping. Therefore, today we call him a Rakshasa. Devaki's brother Kamsa, he has only one thing in his life: fear, 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 fear of Krishna. Krishna will come, Krishna will kill me, Krishna will come. Krishna has not killed Kamsa as you have put it yesterday. No. Kamsa died of heart attack. Heart attack is due to blood pressure. Blood pressure is due to tension. Tension is due to anxiety. Anxiety is due to depression. Depression is due to fear. I am afraid. And that fear becomes depression. Depression grows into gloominess. Gloominess further grows into anxiety. Anxiety further develops into tension. Tension becomes blood pressure. Blood pressure leads to heart attack and the person collapses. Dhanuryaga was conducted by Kamsa. Krishna was invited. People told Krishna has come, Krishna has come. And when Krishna is seen, when he is coming close to him, Krishna lifted the hand, heart stopped, Kamsa collapsed. He never killed. Example, scientific modern example. If a person falls in the river, lake, water, he does not die of drowning, he dies of fear of drowning. Because of the fear he drinks. If he just tries to save himself with courage, he can survive for some time. He may even learn how to swim if he is a little resourceful. It is the fear of water that kills the person. It is not the water itself. That's what the doctors say. Similarly, Kamsa is an embodiment of fear, therefore he is a Rakshasa. Ravana is the embodiment of lust, therefore he is a Rakshasa. Kumbhakarna is an embodiment of overeating and oversleeping, therefore he is a Rakshasa. Animals have them, we too have them, but we can conquer them to become superhuman. Sri Krishna has conquered all the four instincts. In the cosmic evolution, from Matsyavatara to Krishna Avatara, it is a lesson to man to outgrow, and finally become a superhuman personality by conquering these four instincts. First, subhuman, human, superhuman. If you divert to the side, you become inhuman. Ravana is inhuman. Kamsa is inhuman. Kumbhakarna is inhuman. Rowdies are inhuman. If you cannot become superhuman, if you should at least remain to be human beings. By the grace of God Almighty, let us try to remain human. If not, we are able to become the superhuman. For that, let the gods save us. Vishwarupa is shown later. Parikshit is taught the lesson of evolution. My dear king, you have the potentiality to become a god. Control the fear. Be not afraid of death. Be not afraid of anything. Fearlessness is divinity. The entire Upanishadic literature, you have only one word repeated again and again, Abhi, be fearless. And as I told the other day, Rama says, Abhayam dadami sarva bhuteshu etat vratam mama. I want everybody to be fearless. And you go to any Murti Puja temple, the right hand of the god offers you protection, Abhaya Hastam. The goal of life is to be peaceful. The goal of life is to be problem-free. The goal of life is to be free from fear. Let us be fearless. Let us be peaceful. Let us be useful. Let us be usefully peaceful and peacefully useful. Sri Krishna Paramatma is a superhuman personality because he has overcome all the four instincts. Whatever he does is just a sport, and it is for the benefit of everybody. May we by the grace of Lord Almighty, become superhuman. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pasyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now Dr. Rajendra will speak of headache.